All right, Chuck and Elliot, welcome to Soul in the Game podcast. This is the first time I've ever had another living species on my podcast. So I'm very excited. Chuck, welcome. And Elliot, who is crawling around you, also welcome. Not crawling. What do I call?
He's just hanging on tight right now. Uh, and if he starts hanging on too tight on my neck, I will probably just simply remove him. But he is just chilling out right now. Um, you did have his name correctly. This is Elliot. Um, Elliot is one of four snakes that I have here at the house where I live. And Elliot is a ball python. Ball python is indigenous to Central and Western Africa. Not a jungle snake. It tends to be found in the plains and grasslands for the most part. And Elliot, the ball python got its name because in the wild, when it's threatened, it will curl up into a tight ball to protect its head. But ball pythons are also called royal pythons. And the royal python got that name because years and years ago, there was a queen in Egypt. I'm sure you've heard the name Cleopatra. Well, Cleopatra
Yes.
would take a ball python and wear it just like I am. It's kind of a fashion accessory, I guess. I don't know. Well, a ball python is a good beginner snake. I want to put in a pitch for that. It doesn't get to be real big. This is about as big as a ball python will get, and they are pretty easy to care for, and they're generally are docile. They're not prone to bite as long as you're gentle and careful with them. So. As I mentioned, I do have um, three other snakes, and instead of bringing them, I did a quick video if you'd like to have a look at that.
Yes, Chuck. Let's do it.
Okay, can you enable sharing?
Can share simultaneously. Is that working now? It's enabled.
Let me try again. Oh, there we go. Okay, right then. So what you're seeing here, that is Oscar. Oscar is an Arizona mountain king snake. You can find it up near Payson and up in the higher country of Arizona. This snake is my beautiful albino corn snake. Her name is Rose. So that's Rose. And finally, this is Bandit. Bandit is another ball python, a little bit smaller, a little bit younger than Elliot. So now you have met my snakes here. And let me come back.
He looks like Python's brother.
Could very well be.
Yeah, I want to show you a picture meanwhile.
Okay.
Let me open. So this is... Are you seeing? Are you seeing, Chuck?
Yes, I can see it. And so tell me about those snakes. They look to be a part of the Hindu culture.
Yeah, cobra. So this is one of our Hindu gods, and Shiva, he is known to be having snake around his neck like an ornament, just like how you are having right now. And as soon as I saw you with python with Elliot around your neck, I couldn't help but think of Lord Shiva in our Hindu religion.
Well, tell me this: that particular god is uh, snakes have often been depicted in cultures and religions. I was going to talk about that a little bit later as sources of evil. The thought of evil, is that the case with the Hindu gods you presented, or no?
No, no, he's not. He's like there are three main gods in Hinduism. One is a creator, one is a management who takes care of managing the earth, and then one is a destroyer who takes care of the end of life cycle. And
Uh-huh.
Lord Shiva is the end of life cycle. He takes care of that. And there are many stories of why he has cobra around his neck. I'm not an expert on that. I I would have heard the story. I'm totally forgotten now. I apologize. However, that's very super significant of Lord Shiva to have snake around his neck, especially king cobra. That's the most popular snake in Indian, I think, region around there.
I believe king cobras are as dangerous as they can be. They are pretty well revered, and respected in their
Mhm.
homeland. That's my understanding.
Yeah, right. We actually pray to snakes as well. We have in month of August there is a festival where we go to snakes use these mud type of home built by termites, right? And we put milk and we pray. Basically it's a giving respects to the snake where they live. And we've been doing that for many years now, and now with all the urban development they are getting destroyed. But historically in the religion this practice has been inculcated, and people go and pray to snake gods as well.
Cool. Thank you. I'm going to put Elliot back, so I'll be right. Don't go away. I'll be back.
Bye, Elliot. Thank you for being here.
Okay. Okay. So,
That was really nice. Thank you for bringing him in the video. For listeners, if you go to YouTube, you will be able to see all the special action that Chuck just displayed with Elliot, and the beautiful snake. He's quite. I would get intimidated looking at him. He's quite thick, right?
yes, he is quite. He is a thick-bodied snake. Unlike, if you remember, the albino corn snake, who's a much more slender snake. And when someday we might uh, get together and I'll give you an opportunity to play the role of Shiva or Cleopatra, and you just might wear um,
Uh-huh.
Elliot or band it around your neck. And the point is that it's interesting. Those snakes are constrictors, which is how they dispatch their prey. And you can really feel their muscles working. They are quite strong. But I was never in any danger. So perhaps I can earn your trust, and you might try that someday.
Yeah, definitely, Chuck. Definitely, I've seen you handling or carefully maneuvering snakes movement on you. You keep updating where you are volunteering, right?
Yep.
Can you talk about that place for us, please?
Where I volunteer?
Yes, yes, where you volunteer.
Oh, okay. I'm a volunteer at Phoenix Herpetological Sanctuary. This is the largest reptile sanctuary in the United States, we have about 1,200 reptiles of all different kinds on the property. That would include snakes, of course. We have non-venomous snakes, such as the ones you saw. We also have venomous snakes there. We have lizards. We have crocodiles, alligators, caimans, and gharials, turtles and tortoises, lions, tigers, and bears. No, we don't have lions, tigers, and bears. Forget that. Just reptiles. Phoenix Herpetological Sanctuary, and I'll call them PHS because herpetological is a tongue twister, I think. PHS is a no-kill sanctuary for the rescue and rehabilitation of reptiles that come to us in a variety of different ways. One is pet owners who can no longer care for their pet reptile, or for a number of reasons just don't want them anymore. For example, we have scores and scores of African Jakarta tortoises, and these are purchased in pet stores as the cutest little babies you've ever seen. And so people will buy them, and that cute little tortoise gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, over 100 pounds. And when you have one of these in your backyard, people find out that they like to do landscaping. That is, they like to dig holes to hide in. And so as a consequence, many people just come and say, here, I can't take care of this big animal anymore. If if you go to the website, and we'll talk about that in a minute, you can see how big those animals can get. We get reptiles that have been injured and need medical care to recover. We also get reptiles that have been confiscated by law enforcement agencies, that reptiles that could be kept as pets, and often dangerous pets. For example, one of our favorite animals there, very popular one to visitors, is Elvis. Elvis is a king cobra. Well, Elvis came to us having been confiscated from an owner in a high-rise apartment on Manhattan Island in New York City. Can you imagine somebody having a dangerous snake like that? And so that's an example. We also have animals that have been seized from the black market by customs or border control. So,
yeah, that is very interesting, Chuck. So, tell me about that king cobra. I mean, is that Indian origin? I'm assuming it's Indian origin king cobra that you found, Elvis, right?
yes.
So, tell me about that scenario. Like, how did PHS, or is it Herpetological Sanctuary? Is it a national organization that found that
No,
snake?
it is a private sanctuary. So it was started, oh my goodness, maybe 30 years ago by a group of 3 men who recognized that there is just no place that people could, they started out with rattlesnakes. They just felt that there's no reason why animals need to be just needlessly killed, because people don't like them. So it's the owner of the property is one of the founders, and although we're not a national organization, we communicate and partner with a number of other sanctuaries and zoos throughout the country and throughout the world. So that's a little bit about PHS.
Wow, that is amazing. I mean, you were talking about king cobra being found in Manhattan, New York, and then PHS, it comes to PHS. King cobra comes to PHS. So that is a very long journey for the cobra. So, how did the Elvis find space in PHS?
Well, he's been there. He's been there longer than I have been there, and so I don't know the detailed story on how authorities in New York uh, uh, came to recognize that a sanctuary for the snake is in Arizona. I'm not exactly sure how, but space is found because the owners uh, in their homes they have built um, a building on their property to house snakes. They have areas, they have a quarantine building. So it comes to find space because of the dedication of the founders, um, and it just wouldn't be possible without donations and the work of volunteers such as myself. So I'm not sure that
Yeah.
answers your question.
Kind of did, but thank you for taking care of those beautiful reptiles. It's fearful, we are all scared of them. To For our listeners, I how I got to know about Chuck so is through another organization that we volunteer. It is called Arizona Interfaith Power and Light, that is AZIPL. And Chuck had been volunteering there, taking care of the IT infrastructure. And when I started volunteering for AZIPL, Chuck was the backbone of managing all the communication part and very well organized of keeping track of all the materials for the NGO, which is a very hard work if you have ever volunteered for an NGO. So I really appreciate Chuck. You're a role model, and we still follow your model of keeping track of all the paperwork in a very super organized way. So yeah,
Well,
thank you.
I was also the treasurer and did the bookkeeping for AGIPL. And I can't thank you enough for having coming along and had lifted the load of IT support off of my shoulders. So it gives me more time to dedicate to the reptiles that I enjoy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chuck. You're very kind. So, of all the animals, Chuck, why snakes? How did you get into, taking care of snakes?
I have always been fascinated by snakes, and I don't know how or why exactly. I do remember going back um, as a boy growing up in Ohio. Um, if there was a garter snake, I would be sure to pick it up. So I've always liked them. Our first pet snake over 30 years ago um, came into our home when my oldest son, who was 5 at the time, expressed an interest in, gee, Dad, I'd like to have a snake. Well, that is all his father needed to hear. And right then and
Yes.
there, we went to a pet store and we bought, as it turns out, a ball python. Um, and my oldest son, by the way, his name is also Elliot, and that's why I named the big ball python Elliot in his honor. He has since that time have come to uh, have taken on all the kinds of different pets, reptiles into his home uh, over the years. So I think I kind of launched his interest in reptiles as well.
It's like father, like son, right? And
Maybe so.
yeah, he has definitely has your interest that he is inherited from you, it looks like. So he has some pets in his house, like he has some snakes in his house.
He has he has moved from the Phoenix Valley last year. We miss him, his wife, and two children. They moved to Ohio, but he moved into his home. He was able to set up a reptile room, and he has a boa constrictor that's pretty large. He has a savanna monitor and a number of other reptiles. I don't remember all of them, but yes, he still takes care of reptiles.
Wow. So, ball python, is that a poisonous snake, or is it dangerous? How are you easily managing handling ball python in your so relaxed way?
The ball python is not venomous. Believe me, I wouldn't have it around my neck if it was venomous. That's much too risky. So no, it's not venomous.
So, is it trainable? Can you train the ball python to be friendly, like you would train a dog?
If you uh, if you handle it nicely, uh, actually snakes do come to recognize their their owners, probably the scent or something. But then they don't get trained in the way that you might train a dog, for example. You just
Mm.
you just handle them carefully and take care of their needs. Is pretty much with the ball python all you need to do, as well as other uh, snakes that are suitable as pets.
Wow. So it's like more like an intuition. We connect with their energy, and they get to know us, we get to know them, rather than training them to be our, listen to us on anything like that.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Okay. And I want to know the snake's importance in our ecosystem. Like, why are snakes so important for our earth?
Well, for a number of reasons, the snakes, like other creatures in nature, when they are not disturbed by the activities of humankind, um, so snakes will help to maintain a balance in the food chain. Snakes are not only predators, eating other animals, but they are also prey. And so what we see in the natural order of things, I think, is that if you get a large population of animals that are prey to the snake, such as mice or rats, then from that will come a large population of snakes. And when that population of snakes gets to be too big, then you see a growing population of animals that prey on snakes. So over time, I think you have something of a balance. Um, so
Yeah, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, we need that. Otherwise, it gets too imbalanced. Yeah, right. So, yeah.
they are also very good. They're an environmentally friendly, free, and natural pest control service.
Awesome. Mm-hmm.
Yes. In fact, uh, the timber rattlesnake, and I have a picture of a timber rattlesnake a little bit later. That animal is in the eastern part of the United States, and it is a rodent eater, uh, such as rats and mice, which themselves will host ticks, and ticks can be a problem to people if they get bitten by ticks. They could possibly uh, uh, suffer Lyme disease. Um, uh, Another pest control story I heard is of a dog kennel owner in Florida found dozens of snakes in the rafters of the building. And so he set it upon himself to kill every one of them. And as a consequence to that came a plague of rats. And it took 2 years to get the rats under control and thousands of dollars to deal with the destruction that happened to the structure. So
Oh my gosh. Wow. Did they reintroduce the snakes again?
I don't know. Uh,
Okay. Yeah.
that's a good question. Snake, in venomous snakes, another benefit from venomous snakes is that um, from the venom of a variety of snakes, um, scientists have been able to develop a variety of medicines that are therapeutic, and research continues on discovering new ones from components that are found in venom.
I did not know that the snake venom is used as a medical treatment. That's incredible.
But the first use of venom, uh, besides a variety of um, therapeutic things, is obviously to develop anti-venom. Anti-venom is really developed from snake venom.
Wow. That's awesome. So coming back to um, Phoenix Herpetological Society, so the what happens at the for the animals like in that shelter in when they come in? How do you take care of them?
Well, we take care of them by making sure that they're properly fed and housed and temperatures are correct. It's quite a work to do that. Um, the some of the snakes will, some of the reptiles that is, um, will be um, offered as like any other animal, any other shelter, such as a cat shelter or a dog shelter. We do offer reptiles that make suitable pets available for adoption. So that's one thing that could happen to an animal that comes to us. Um, some animals get sent to zoos throughout the country and the world if they need a particular species. Um, and some animals are sent to universities for research purposes, but many animals just spend the rest of their lives being taken care of at PHS.
Wow, nice. And how do they come there? Do people just you mentioned earlier that they cannot take care, so they come? Do they also for example, if in my backyard if I see a rattlesnake, can I call the society to come and take care of them?
Um, yes, one of the services that PHS offers is we have a service, a hotline that you can call if you have an unwanted guest on your property. You can
Nice.
call that number, and we will come out to get it. And let me cut over to show you where on the website that is. Okay, this is the home page for
Uh-huh.
phoenixherp.com. And you can see
Okay.
one of the things we offer is a summer camp and a number of other opportunities to educate young people and also to have fun. But if you click on need help
Okay.
and then go down to rattlesnake rescue and removal, you will see that's the number.
That is awesome. 602-550-1090. That's incredible. So we don't need to worry too much or get super scared. Instead, call that number and they will take care. That's amazing.
And that's one of the things I do for PHS is I'm on call that if someone, I live in the Awatuki area, and if someone calls that hotline needing a snake removed and relocated, because we do relocate them to a place that's safer for the snake and safer for people, there's a good chance that I'm the one who will be called to remove the snake and relocate it.
Wow. So do you go with some tools when you're trying to remove or take care, I would say, take care of the
Yes,
snake? You
I
have
will
some
go
tools
and I
ready?
have a bucket to put the snake in, and
Uh-huh.
I have a snake hook. I'm, and I also have something called snake tongs, um, which I can use. They're 40 inches long, plenty long enough for the strike distance of a rattlesnake, that I will use to pick up the snake, put the snake in the bucket, screw down the lid, and then go find a place in the desert that's not too far away from the homeowner's property, because snakes cannot be relocated too far from where they were raised. Otherwise, they will get confused and not likely survive. But in any case, um, relocating the snakes is another important thing to do.
Oh, so you actually don't take it back to PHS, but you leave them in the wild,
We
in
go out.
outside.
We go out to the desert area close by the home, and we will find, oftentimes at the base of the saguaro cactus, there are pack rat nests, and that's a good place for rattlesnakes to hide. And so usually that's what I will look for, or in the crevice of a rock or something of that nature. So I try to find shelter for the snake um, when I relocate it.
Nice. That's awesome. So apart from the rescue part, I also saw the education part that PHS does. Do you want to share what type of education PHS provides?
Well, a couple of things. One is that we will take reptiles out to events. We will, such as many times elementary schools and middle schools will have what they call science nights, and they will invite us to come out and bring our animals, so that the children and parents can see the animals, uh, hold the animals, and get their questions answered. So we take them out to events such as that. We also offer, PHS is not a zoo that you can come and visit during open hours like a zoo, but instead
Mm-hmm.
we do offer public tours and private tours, um, to come and see the facility with a guide who can answer questions. So, and just, I think you saw on the website, we also have for young people, we have summer camps. It's a day camp kind of a thing.
Right, right.
Uh, Not only in the summer, but also during spring break, winter break, and fall break. Um, we have kids come out and spend the day um, doing activities, and also um, interacting with the animals as well. So those are some of the ways that we help to educate the public on reptiles.
That's awesome. Nice. So you have kids coming there for during spring break or summer break, fall break, visit the place, and also all see the reptiles. Is that right? They come to visit children.
What the kids will, the kids will spend their day there during the camp, but during the tours, we will take people um, through the whole property to see all the animals. Um, and those tours go through what we call the snake barn. And if it happens to be a Tuesday and I happen to be there working, I will stop what I am doing and I will go get a snake out of the cage and I will offer it for people to hold if they like. Some of them are fearful, of course, and I respect that. Um, uh, but I do enjoy um, offering an opportunity for anyone to get to know snakes and perhaps be a little bit less afraid of snakes. And people do get afraid of snakes. Now, are you kind of afraid of snakes, Tommy?
I would love to hold a snake. I have had experience. I think I went to the zoo and not sure if it was PHS or some other organization. They had come there with the reptiles, and one of them they had snake. So I did hold a snake, and I do like the feeling. It's almost like massaging when it goes through your hand palms. It feels like it's massaging my
You can
palm.
sense the
And
muscles at work there, can't you? And
yeah,
you find
yeah.
that that snake was not slimy at all, was it?
No, no.
But some people are very afraid of snakes. Some people are afraid to the point that if they become debilitated at the even the sight of a snake. It's just and it's so unfortunate, but there are some people who just cannot help it, and I respect that. Um, I, um, Snakes have really gotten a bad rap over the years of humankind. Um, if you, unlike the story you told me of Shiva, um, in the uh, in the scriptures for the Jews and the Christians, the creation story uh, talks about um, Satan coming into the garden as a serpent. And how do you often
Oh,
see that serpent depicted?
mm-hmm.
A snake. That's
Yeah.
really unfortunate. So um, it's just sad that some people think that the only good snake is a dead snake. So I'm trying to, if I have an opportunity to counteract that way of thinking, that makes me happy.
Hmm. Yeah, the storytelling is so important, and that can have a f- uh, without us realizing, subconsciously there could be that fear of snake based on the stories we have heard or what we grew up with listening to. And going back to the sanctuary, the organization itself, what do you do? Like you mentioned, you were doing, if you're doing something, you will drop what you're doing and then come and help somebody to feel how holding a snake would be. So what do? You said you're there every Tuesday.
Well, I tell people I'm just like a hotel housekeeper, just like a housekeeper in a hotel. I will go from room to room, okay, not room to room, but from glass cage to glass cage, and look in and uh, and discover, oh, you've made a mess in there. And so I will go into the enclosure, um, and and if necessary, if it's a non-venomous snake that is pretty chill, I will just go in and remove the mess. And I will also make sure that their water bowl is taken care of. I just basically do everything that a hotel housekeeper would do, except that I don't leave a mint on the pillow. No, I don't go that far. But I'm basically a housekeeper. I've been doing that for 2.5 years or so for our non-venomous snakes in what we call the snake barn, and just Well, a couple of months ago, I began training for doing housekeeping in the venom room, which is where
Wow.
venomous snakes are. And
Mm-hmm.
I brought a picture to show you of what that looks like. Can I share that now?
Of course. Go ahead.
Okay. You remember earlier I was talking about that story of or not the story, but I told you that the timber rattlesnake, which is also called the canebrake rattlesnake in eastern United States, um, uh, helps to keep tick-borne uh, rodents under control. Well, right here in the upper left-hand corner is our timber rattlesnake. And to the right of that, that's me lifting that big, thick, heavy rattlesnake out of the bucket after having cleaned his cage. And I guess I want to point out something that illustrates how careful I like to be and how careful PHS is um, for people who are working in this area. I don't know if you can see, there's a device with a red button on it that I am wearing, and that
Yeah.
is the famous I've fallen and need help button. But uh,
Mm-hmm.
if I should get bitten, and I make every effort not to get bitten uh, by a venomous snake, and I press that button, that will sound an alarm that will start activities to get me taken care of, get to the hospital for anti-venom. But here I am lifting that big heavy snake out, and I laid him down on the floor. You can see in the lower left. He's a pretty good sized rattlesnake. And then finally, using the tools that we were talking about, although in this case it's two snake hooks, to encourage him to get back into his cage. So when we talk about housekeeping, this gives you an idea of what the rooms that our reptile guests have, our snake guests have at the sanctuary.
Wow. I loved it. Did you get scared when you were, because you're used to, or you're experienced with non-venomous snakes, right? Did you get scared of, or not scared, how do I say it, more like you're saying doing something different, right? You're more alert and more vigilant. How did you find
Vigilant
that?
is an excellent word. I do work to be very vigilant. Um, I take my time at what I do. Um, and during this training period, there happened to be the curator of venomous snakes, who is my instructor. He was there also. So, uh, yes, I do develop a mindset of not rushing myself, but to try to anticipate anything that snake might do to get within striking range, and I've been successful at it. Friends and family, especially family, why would you ever do this? Um, and well, they need to be taken care of. I am not a daredevil. With the proper training and the proper tools, it can be done safely. It's all about managing risk.
Yeah, sure, Chuck. That is, I mean, I have seen how you work. You're very, it's like craftsmanship, right? Deliberate and vigilant and careful approach towards the work that you're doing. Even just with the preparing for this podcast was, I learned so much because my preparation is very different from how you prepared, and I can take so many things, learn so many things from just working with you to prepare this podcast. So yeah, that's excellent. And you also enjoy meeting people and you're a social person. You like to share your pets with the children, as you have with my son. You he loves seeing the snake that you have showed before on Zoom call. So yeah, those are all the things I think you would probably naturally do at PHS as well.
Okay, well, I hope we give your son an opportunity to do that and you as well. So, but speaking of rattlesnakes, we do have rattlesnakes out in the desert, and many people like to hike in the desert, not just the desert, but in all areas of a beautiful state of Arizona. Um, many people have never seen a rattlesnake, and that is mostly because they uh, they make every effort not to be seen, and they're very reclusive animals. But
Mm-hmm.
you just might get an opportunity to see a rattlesnake when you're hiking. So here's what you should do if you do encounter a rattlesnake. The first thing you should do if hiking and you come across a rattlesnake is simply stop.
Okay.
Back away slowly. You don't want to make a sudden movement because if you turn out to be too close to the rattlesnake, that sudden movement may invite a strike. And also that sudden movement might cause you, if you're like me, to perhaps trip and fall over something and hurt yourself. So it's as hard as it may seem, you just need to try to stay calm uh, and back away. And one of the things that I say over and over and over to people is that a rattlesnake will not chase you. Let me say it again. A rattlesnake will not chase you.
Mm-hmm.
If they can get away, they will get away. If they don't feel they can get away, they will hold their ground. If you back away, it's not going to come towards you. Um, they're very fearful. All snakes are fearful of people because people are huge to them. People, they're just afraid of being stepped on. Um, so do know that rattlesnakes are very defensive, but they are not aggressive. Their first defense is to remain absolutely still, hoping that you don't notice them. But if you get too close, they may rattle, but they may not also. So you just need to be vigilant, uh, and it's helpful to just stay on a trail, because if you stay on a trail and you don't move into tall grass, then if there's a rattlesnake on the trail, obviously you're going to see it. And what you should do is go safely around it. So what is safely? Well, rattlesnakes don't get much bigger than 4 feet. Some people say the strike distance is a third. Some people say it's a half. Okay, my recommendation is don't do the math. Just stay 10 feet away from the rattlesnake and walk around the rattlesnake. If you can't safely walk around the rattlesnake, just back up and wait a little bit. That snake, when it senses you are not a threat anymore, will move on pretty quickly. And then the other thing I would encourage people to do if they encounter a rattlesnake and they have a proper amount of distance, is get the phone out, because you just had an exciting experience. You're going to want to take a picture of that. So again, stay on the trail, avoid tall grass. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to say is that if you come upon a rock or a log, don't step over the rock or the log, but instead step on the rock or the log and look over to see what's on the other side before you step down.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. That's a lot of good good information to remember before we go for a hike, because when I was new to Arizona and I went on a hike for the first few months, I did encounter a rattlesnake
You
in
did.
our Tukey, actually.
You
I
did.
did. And I had no idea it was a rattlesnake. um a friend of mine, she really loved animals, and she knew it was a rattlesnake, and she said it's rattling, it's that sound you hear, that's the rattlesnake. And we paused, and then we slowly stepped back, I remember, and then we walked away. We didn't want to make the snake fearful. We were also scared, and at the same time we didn't want to make the snake be afraid of us. So that was my experience, and as you mentioned, many people would not know um, or about rattlesnake, or any snake of that matter.
Well, I would say your first experience was a good experience, wouldn't you?
Yes, yes. I came home after my friend told me it's a rattlesnake. I came home, I googled like all about it, and then I wanted to learn more, and I was so happy, thankful that I got to have that experience. And I did not take a picture, unfortunately, but it was a good experience.
Well, come and visit us at PHS. I'll give you lots of opportunities to take pictures.
Sure, Chuck. After talking to you, I really want to come and visit at some point. So I'll make sure to do that sometime. Now it's open now, right? Is it's not closed after pandemic, or
We are
it's
now
open for
offering
public?
tours again. Um, we we do insist that all of our visitors, and they're small groups. We schedule small groups, and everyone has to wear a mask uh, there. So, so yes, it is open for tours. And if you go to the website and click on visit, you can find out more about uh, tours.
Very nice. So I want to, before we end this, I want to have last action items, like, let's say, not even action item, but something to remember. How can we protect snakes? Because we mentioned about people are fearful, right? So being fearful, but how can we also protect them?
Well, for the most part, um, the best way we can protect them, uh, especially when it's a situation not on your home property, um, but by and large, the best way is to just let them be. Um, it, I get so sad that so many are just needlessly killed, um, uh, and just right on sight because it's a rattlesnake. Have to kill it. I remember an old John Wayne Western. He um, in the movie, uh, someone wanted to go into a cabin and he said, "No, let me go first." He goes into the cabin. The next thing you know, you hear a gunshot and he's digging out this rattlesnake. Big
Oh,
macho guy just killed the rattlesnake. That is so
yeah.
unfortunate. Um, if you do have a venomous snake, remove a venomous snake in your yard or your home, have it removed by a professional, please. Either by calling our hotline. If you Google rattlesnake removal services, there's another fine company uh, that will come out and safely remove and relocate that snake. So that's one way you can help. Um, also, um, I ask people not to use glue traps for rodent control. Um, uh, Too often, in that glue trap, a snake or even a lizard can get stuck on those things, and they will face a slow death. It would be important for you to snake-proof your property by eliminating brush piles you might have or other places on your yard that would be handy for a snake to hide. Um, you can install snake-proof fencing. If you look for that on the internet, there's one company I know of that will do that for you. And keep your garage door closed.
Yeah.
A rattlesnake thinks garages make very nice caves to hide in. And sometimes they'll get in there and find a place to hide, and they will
Mm.
spend the whole winter there, and
Oh,
then only
wow.
to be discovered or something in the spring. So do keep your doors closed.
Okay. Those are some very nice tips for protection that we can learn from. And for listeners, if they want to contribute or help or learn more about PHS, do they go to the website? Is that, yeah?
Oh, yes, please go to the website. It's phoenixherp.com. Uh, and if in the abstract for this podcast, if you could just put that website in there for people to click on, I think that would be helpful. And it costs thousands and thousands of dollars to feed the animals, um, to pay. There's just a very small staff of about 7 people there. Much of the labor is done by volunteers, such as myself. So that small staff needs to be paid for. Food needs to be purchased, and
Mm-hmm.
of course, there's property upkeep. So we are a nonprofit organization, and right on that home screen, you'll see a big button called Donate. It would be delightful if people would click on that.
Yes, please donate and help the organization, pay for the people who are working there. As Chuck mentioned, it's a lot of money to take care of those precious animals that are important to our ecosystem. And Chuck, I really enjoyed learning about snakes from you today. Thank you very much for sharing all your knowledge in this short period. I know it was very short, the 1 hour just went by so quickly, but you really put in a lot of knowledge for us to learn about snake. I feel like I know a lot more than I did an hour ago. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate this opportunity, Somi.
Thank you.